You know, the best psychologist in my mind, or the best person to take advice from, is possibly someone who's gone through it all and wants to be a psychologist, or wants to be in the internet giving advice, because they've been through it all and they know how bad it is and they want to help because of that. Maybe that's the best person to talk to. Hey, how are you doing? It's Alan here from Looking for Warriors, and I want to talk about Jordan Peterson. Because there's a lot of stuff about Jordan Peterson right now. His wife had bad cancer, and to deal with it, he was put onto some medication from his doctor, and he became addicted to this medication and had to go to Russia and everything else. And there's a certain amount of people that I hear online talking about it, and they're talking about Jordan Peterson giving advice. And I like Jordan Peterson's advice. I bought his book, and it's about Jordan Peterson giving advice, and can he really give advice when he was addicted to drugs, to some sort of drugs? And can he give advice? And it's really interesting because it comes into the question of, can people give advice if they're not perfect? If their own life isn't perfect, can they give other people advice? Interesting question. Now, Jordan Peterson, first of all, Jordan Peterson is not perfect, and he never said he was perfect. He never ever said he was perfect. In fact, if you listen to his videos, he talks a lot about growing up in Canada. Growing up in a very, very rough part of Canada where there was a lot of drinking and a lot of fighting and, you know, a rough area. And if you ask him about this, he's going to tell you he's not perfect. Yes, he became a professional later on. And yes, he was a clinical psychologist. And yes, he talks to people about their issues. But if I was going to a clinical psychologist, and we've all got problems, we've all got things we need to deal with. But if I was going to a clinical psychologist, the last person I want to go to is someone who's had a perfect life. Because how can they understand the mad stuff in my life? How can this perfect person understand the mad stuff in my life and in all of our lives? Haven't we all got some mad stuff in our lives that we need to deal with? Haven't we all got some mad stuff going on in there in our heads? I don't know. Some of us maybe. Maybe it's just me. But do you really want to talk to someone who's perfect? Who's never had a problem? Who's never had an issue in their life? Do you really want to talk to someone who's never had a low? Who's never been down in that terrible, terrible place? Do you want to talk to someone who's never thought of, you know, I've had a good run, maybe I should just end it now? Or do you want to talk to someone who understands, who's been there? Do you want to take advice? I want to take advice from someone who's been there, who's had that low that we've all had, and who's had the highs. When I hear about Jordan Peterson, he talks about being in Russia, and his daughter talks about it as well. I'm sure he's come to the point when he was getting medical help in Russia and everywhere else, where he said, Jesus, you know, maybe this is all I need. Maybe I've reached the end of this. Maybe it's okay if it ends now. We've all, now I'm thinking, is it just me? Is it just me? I think we've all been there. Maybe we've all been there. Have we all been there? Well, you know, I've had a pretty good run. I put my work in. I don't know. But what I do know is you don't want advice from someone who's perfect, someone who's had a perfect life, someone who's never made a mistake, someone who's with zero sin. Is that who you want to take advice from? I know for me, I'm imperfect. I'm imperfect. I've made mistakes. I've had really, 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 really bad lows. I've had times when is this a good time for confession? Maybe this isn't the right time for confession. But I've had times when I've thought to myself, hey, I've had a pretty good run. Maybe it's time. It's not now. If any psychologists are watching this, just it's not now. I feel great now. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. Don't call me. But you know, we've all been there. And I want, if I was talking, and I've never talked to a psychologist, but if I was talking to a psychologist, I'd want someone. I would want to talk to someone who's been there, who's made the mistakes, who had the bad childhood. And I'm not saying Jordan Peterson has a bad childhood, I don't know. Who was bullied maybe, I don't know if he's bullied either, I don't know. But has had difficult times. You know, the best psychologist in my mind, or the best person to take advice from, is possibly someone who's gone through it all and wants to be a psychologist, or wants to be in the internet giving advice, because they've been through it all and they know how bad it is and they want to help because of that. Maybe that's the best person to talk to. And I imagine there's some people, by the way, actually as well, just as I say that, the best comedian, and this is why I like Louis C.K., the best comedian to listen to is the person who's had incredible pain. Because when they talk about their experiences, you know they mean it. And sometimes the most unbelievable pain brings the most laughter. By the way, as well, the best songwriters to listen to sometimes are the people who've been, that's why Adele, you listen to Adele, you know she's been through that pain. You know that she's been through that pain. That's why her songs mean something. You listen to this thing and it's just, it hits your heart. It's meaningful. And she's willing to go there, talk about it. And that's why it connects somewhere with you. When you listen to Pink Floyd and Roger Waters talks about his dad going to the war and him never seeing him again and finding old letters. You feel that. You can feel that. You can feel that. It's a beautiful thing. And sometimes the deepest and most meaningful things are from people who have gone through the worst pain, the most unbelievable pain. And that's why I don't care that Jordan Peterson is not perfect. I don't care. In fact, I think it makes him more real and more human, and I'm more willing to listen to him because he's not perfect. I don't want to listen to perfect people. I don't want to listen to people who had no problems. I don't want to listen to people who have perfect lives. So when you have your Instagram life and everything's just, you're perfectly at the beach and you're perfect and your family's perfect and everything's perfect, it's boring. It's really boring. I'm sorry. Your perfect Instagram life is a little bit boring. And for all the people who are trying to sell courses online and they're standing beside the Ferraris or they're showing their perfect house or their perfect girlfriend, it's boring. It's so boring. It's so boring. In fact, I listened to one video online about a guy talking about, he says, you know, in his words, he says he's ugly and his experience. He talks about his whole experience and it's fascinating. And the ironic thing about it is his words when he talks about his experience and how he's experienced it, his words are so beautiful. So I don't want to take advice from perfect people. I want to take advice from people who've had problems. When Jordan Peterson talks about his childhood, he talks about heavy drinking. He talks about people fighting. It wasn't a perfect life. He never pretended he was perfect. And he's not. And I'm not perfect. And maybe you're perfect, I don't know, but everybody on Instagram seems to be perfect now. And then we just find that boring, really, all these perfect people. Maybe it's just me. But for me, I don't mind that Jordan Peterson's not perfect, and I want to listen to him more. And I just wanted to say that. This has been Alan here from Look for Warriors, talking about Jordan Peterson. Hey, he's not perfect, guys.